faith creates a unique partnership between us and God. Now, we know that faith is a requirement to receive anything from God. And so ideally, what's happening, our faith activates God's promises. God moves, He is glorified. But we're also supposed to be active participants. We respond, and we're His instruments in those situations. And until we have a true understanding of that, it creates what I call the paradox of faith. The paradox of faith is that the battle truly does belong to the Lord. Whatever it is, that it's only His work, only His efforts that bring a victory, bring anything meaningful, bring anything of true value. Unless the Lord builds the house, we labor in vain. But He also calls us to be participants in what He's doing. And so we need a deep revelation of how that relationship truly works. And as we do so, what happens? It will build our faith. It'll strengthen our faith. It will give you the endurance when you understand that it is God's efforts that are bringing the victory, and we're just His instrument. We need that. Why? Because not every battle is what we would classify as a battle. Maybe you're building a business, you're building a ministry, and these things take time. And it can be easy during the dry seasons to begin to wonder, am I really supposed to be doing? Is God in this? Whatever. We need that deep revelation that the battle truly is the Lord's. We're just His instruments. And we'll see that in this story that I think epitomizes this so well. And so what is this? This is David with Goliath. Now, we're not going to get into the whole story because you know it. What do we have? We have a youth facing a 9-foot giant, okay? The biggest challenge of his life. And before we get into it, what I find really interesting, nobody else was willing to face Goliath. Now, this has been going on for 40 days. Nobody else was willing to stand up. In fact, they're all kind of hanging back, kind of like ready to nudge someone else forward. But David goes out boldly. And we don't see where God told him at all, David, go do this. But rather we see David in incredible faith going out, recognizing by faith he's to be God's instrument. Now imagine a youth, 9-foot giant. You don't want that nagging thought in the back of your mind, God, you got to come through. I'm hoping you'll come through. What do we see? We see a confident, bold faith that shows he recognized the battle was God's, not his, and he was just to be God's instrument. And we see that in what he says to Goliath. Right out of the gate. Now, Goliath despises him, but what does he say? You come with a sword and 2 spears, but I come in the name of the Lord. He understood his relationship, but what he says next is what's really powerful. And what he says is, God will defeat you, and I will kill you. Now, I know for some that might be a little graphic, but that's the reality of the Bible, how real it is. But what is it? See, he understood the relationship. Nowhere did he say, I'm going to get the victory here at all. There was no assumption that he had any ability. Remember, what's he going to do? He's going to sling a rock at the guy. But what does he recognize? It is God's battle, not mine. I'm just his instrument. In fact, he was completely unprepared to actually kill Goliath. See, yeah, he had a slingshot, and he's going to sling a rock, but God will defeat you, and I will kill you. And he goes on, and he says, and in doing so, everyone will see that God can gain the victory without swords and spears. The battle belongs to him, and he's giving you over to us. Now, you know the story. David slings the rock, knocks him down. He actually has to go get Goliath's own sword to kill him with. A little gruesome, but here's the point. See, we have to get that right relationship where the battle does truly belong to the Lord. That is God the one that's moving, that he's the one developing the plans, and we just respond. We're looking to partner with God, with our faith. In doing so, we see his power release, God's victory brought. We see lives transformed. We see God glorified, and we get to be the beneficiary of all of his blessings.